Hi, I'm Megan Garber. I'm a staff writer at The Atlantic magazine, and I'm here to talk about the March cover story that is called "We Are Already Living in the Metaverse." And first, I guess I'll talk a little bit about what the metaverse actually is. There are lots of definitions, but I would say that one unifying idea of the metaverse is the use of technology to create immersive experiences, to create either immersive entertainment, immersive social connections, basically a world that you navigate and live within rather than simply looking at it through a screen. So the metaverse as an idea is in some ways here and is in some ways a long way away. Right now you need goggles to access it, you need virtual reality, augmented reality platforms to make the metaverse come alive. But one of the things that I'm arguing in this story is that in fact the metaverse is already here. We already live in a universe of immersive entertainment that is effectively everywhere and shapes how we experience the world. So for educational purposes, I would say that one thing about the metaverse that is wonderful for education is the fact that teachers can use the platforms to make history, to make science, to make the world itself come alive for students. There are a lot of really, I think, innovative uses of the metaverse to make students feel connected to their education, to make them feel empathy for other people, to make them feel excited about the facts of the world in ways that they might not necessarily be able to simply by reading a book, simply by listening to a lecture. So I think that is one of the things that can be wonderful when it comes to the metaverse. One thing though that I would also say, if you take this idea of immersive entertainment to a logical conclusion, is that if we live in the metaverse, entertainment itself, this idea that the world should be fun and exciting and that boredom is somehow something to be fought against, I think that can be a challenge, particularly for educators and then by extension for students as well. Sometimes you simply have to memorize things, learn things, take in the facts that your teacher is telling you, and there aren't always ways to make that work completely fun, and I think that's okay. One of my heroes is a scholar named Neil Postman, who in 1985 wrote a book called Amusing Ourselves to Death, where he took a look at the American culture of that moment and argued that entertainment already back then was becoming not just a condition of American life, but really an ethic of American life. That that entertainment was no longer simply a mode of escapism. That it was not simply one mode of interacting with the world, but in fact the defining mode, the only mode. And Neil Postman himself was a teacher. He was a professor, and he often looked at education as a way of condensing his ideas. He talked about, professors who would be judged not according to their wisdom, not according to their teaching ability per se, but according to their ability to entertain their students, to put on a good show, essentially. And Postman applied this idea to many other fields. And I think his ideas are still so acutely relevant in this moment, and also more relevant than they have ever been, because we live in a world now where our entertainment is always accessible. We have phones, and our phones carry with them often TV shows and YouTube videos and TikToks and Instagrams, and so much of our lives are now covered by entertainment, essentially, and we do live in our entertainment in a very real way. And I think one of the upshots of the article that I wrote is this idea that entertainment itself can affect essentially every element of the lives we live. And I would say in particular, it can affect education, and it can make students expect that everything in the world be fun, be exciting, give that little jolt of enthusiasm. And I think that could be fine, but it can often also be a detriment to the relationship that students and teachers should have together.